we've been doing a series, God Good Gifts, right? God gives good gifts. He's a good gift giver. And we finally talked about how he gave his son, like, ultimate gift, hard to imagine. And for me, that part of the story has always been difficult. When I try to put myself in that story to understand what was happening or going on there, hard for me to comprehend. And I'm curious if I'm the only one. Okay, we have 5 kids. If somebody came to me and said, just give up one of them, because it'll be really good for everybody else if one of them was sacrificed, I'd have a hard time with the thought of that. I can't even imagine what that conversation would go like. But we're sitting here with, like, you have one kid apiece. And the scripture said, gave his one and only son. If somebody came to you and said, hey, I'd like to have the sacrifice of your son for this grand idea, how do you guys process that right now? I mean, how many months?
Yeah, so Holden's 21 months.
21 months,
Yeah.
6 weeks?
6 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
how does that strike you?
I mean, I don't even know how to respond to that because of how much love. I mean, the kid has been keeping us up all night. And even through our lack of sleep, you still pick him up every time. It's like, I love you so much and I'd do anything for you. I can't imagine. I actually can't even recall living a life without him at this point.
Yeah, it's all a blur.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. But giving him up would be unimaginable.
Yeah, I think majority of us would say, like, in a heartbeat, we would give up our own life for our kids.
Yeah.
And so the fact of, like, no, I'm happy. Like, if this has to happen, take me. I'll deal with this. Like, I want to carry this burden. I want them to continue living their life and enjoying life. And so having to give that up, I can't even fathom the thoughts or the feelings of what that means, what that looks like, having to make that choice or that decision.
So we're in the same boat. A little ironic then, in my mind, is that are you guys doing stuff with family? You're going somewhere, you're probably with somebody right now, maybe doing something. A holiday that seems to be centered around family has the genesis of a family that's being broken up so that this could actually take place. I think that's ironic to me. Maybe the only thing that has given me a little comfort in, like, trying to understand. I don't understand that level of love. I don't understand that kind of thing, except that I think Jesus and God, being one, were of the same mind to do this. So it wasn't in our relationships, if we were to do this, I mean, it would be a small child that wouldn't understand what was going on and I'm going to sacrifice you. And instead, we see a God who made a choice out of love for us. Does that make things a little better? Or, I mean, how does that set with you?
Yeah, for me, I can wrap my mind around the human side of how we view life, and God viewing the bigger plan, and Jesus also knowing pieces of the bigger plan, whatever God was willing to show him. And so it does give some comfort, but I still feel that side of the human side, that Jesus was flesh, he lived here, and it being God's one and only son, he had to grieve over that and be sad that that's the way it had to go based on the decisions we've made.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I think of trust. I mean, look at Abraham, right? Like, the amount of trust that he had to have to God to walk up that mountain and just have that conversation, and all the way up until the very end. I just think that knowing that he has a bigger plan always has to be there in any move that I do moving forward with my family.
Yeah, well, I think think that's what's kind of cool about this morning that we're all celebrating. We're all sitting around with people that we love. Hopefully we're experiencing some peace and quiet today where we can reflect. You and I were part of God's plan. Like what he had in mind when he did that was these kind of moments that we're experiencing right now, where there's a sense of peace, a sense of gratefulness in our hearts because of the extreme amount of love that God showed to us. And part of that plan was this baby come to earth. And part of that plan was the family. You know, it's not just that he came to earth, that his life was going to end, like, tragically, and they both knew it. And they still chose that path for our sake. So I think as unfathomable as that all is, maybe if it rested with a sense of gratefulness from us, that would make more sense than just confusion, which at times is, I feel like I read that and I'm like, so hard to comprehend. But maybe there'll be a stirring of gratefulness, and hopefully we'll consider that as one of God's great gifts, even though it's shocking and hard and difficult to understand, evidence of an overwhelming amount of love.